but the conversation that they have as you know, what they're projecting to an audience, I just find pretty fascinating.
I haven't recorded a song in years where I go, oh, what's the kick pattern? It doesn't define what I'm gonna do, but this does, and
That's such a cool insight. I've never thought about that.
Yeah, it's a not too smart bass line, and yet when you hear it, it sounds like fucking mastery. Musicians React. Welcome back to Professional Musicians React.
People of the internet, we have heard you. We're doing it. We're listening to John Mayer. We're gonna listen to Vultures and Gravity today. We have an all-star cast with us. Here we go. We're gonna dive right in and listen to Vultures. Is that you singing?
No, it's someone else.
That's a great song.
It's such a good song.
It is.
You guys still like that song?
I really like it.
Absolutely.
That's Sean Hurley. He's a bassist. He's played with John Mayer, Alicia Keys, and Rob Thomas.
It's got this classic, undeniable quality about it.
That's J.J. Johnson. He's a drummer who's played with John Mayer, Gary Clark Jr., and Lenny Kravitz.
I think if you write a song that good, you don't need too many layers.
No,
it's
not
pretty
a ton
lean.
happening.
It's guitar, bass, drums, and vocals for
long
80%
time.
of the song.
Yeah, and there's some subtle little clouds that come up, and then the whirly reveals itself.
The first thing that makes it sound not like a live band is the harmony on wire, the word wire, down to the wire. Up until that moment, it sounds like a band recording a song.
A la a trio.
Yes, one might say. How many times have you guys played this song?
4 or 5? 100? I played it at every show I did, and I've toured for a couple of years.
Yeah.
You must have done the same.
Quite. It was always in the set.
Yeah.
So.
Because it's fun to play live, and it's like a hit without being a hit. I don't think it was ever on the radio, and that's what John's got a special catalog for that, where the fans, like, that's a hit song for every fan. So as a band member, it's like, oh, this is fun to play, because you could stretch it out, enjoy it, and they're going to love every minute of it.
When you guys play it live, are you trying to execute this version of it, or are you adding your own voice and spin to it? Are you playing that bass line note for note? Like, what's your approach? And what's John's instruction to you when you're playing live?
I came in when the band was already up and running, where they just replaced the bass player, so I just slotted in. JJ could probably tell you how it went from, hey, I've got a new song on a new record, because he was on tour before Continuum and then post Continuum.
There's an authentic quality that just makes it sit right, where just those things that you kind of want to honor, but beyond that, when we play live, it's kind of like you don't want to just dictate, like play. It's kind of, just be in the moment of playing.
And the arrangement would be longer, so therefore you go, we're off the script within 3 minutes. But one thing that not everybody, when I joined the band to tour, I get to see everything, all the cogs and wheels moving. JJ would change drums, or snare drums a lot, which I had been in rock bands where they didn't really change snare drums, or they have a side one, but he'd have a tech, like, okay, here's the Vultures snare. That's the biggest thing, of trying to honor the tones of that.
It really, without that, I've become a lot more sensitive to, just like anybody else, but for some reason, drums kind of seem to be like, huh? It's such an important, it paints the picture. The tone sets the tone. Right. And it would sound really silly playing with any other tone. I can't unhear that.
How do you get that snare sound? What is unique about?
It's low pitched.
Yeah, it sounds like it's hitting around 150, as opposed to, like, a lot of snare drums are up around 200 something. This one to me sounds like it's 140, 150, super low. It's got a nice frothy top end on it. It's got almost like a white noise on top
Right.
of it because
It's
the
snare
snares
rattle,
are
yep.
buzzing so beautifully and evenly. And then the kind of beef of it is just, it punches me in the gut. It's the first thing I hear when I hear this song. The first thing is that saturated snare drum that's just taking up most of the headroom of the
It's
track.
become like a reference. It's like the
totally
vulture
is.
snare.
You hear that, yeah. I've
Yeah.
noticed that in conversations when people are trying to achieve it, and which also just kind of become a popular tone I've noticed lately, especially with
Yeah.
human-made music. But that tone can be achieved. I'm numerous, many different ways. It's sort of you when you hit upon it, like it's kind of undeniable. It's like that's what I'm going for.
How correlated is it to the depth of the snare? Because you can get like a low beefy snare with like a relatively,
True.
right?
Yes,
Or
that is
okay.
true. But there's something, I mean, A, B in those, and it also depends. I mean, there are many different variables involved in that.
Yeah.
Shell thickness, thinness, depth, of course. But I would say the thickness of a shell has a lot to do with that,
Thickness of the shell.
which actually you want a thinner shell.
Can we hear? Have you tuned this snare yet?
I have not tuned it.
Can we actually do, I think it would be really fun.
Should we do it?
Can we play the song now with the way the snare is tuned now?
Yeah.
And then actually let's take 2 or 3 minutes to get the snare
section.
as close as possible and play it again. I think that'll be
Great.
really interesting actually.
I've never played this guitar part.
I mean,
Oh,
do
okay,
you want-
sure.
That sounds great. It sounds really close.
It's close, but that tone, I tell you, it's just like, it's
Okay, let's
so
hear the
low.
snare. Let's hear
Right.
snare by itself.
Let's tune it.
hear where
Let's
it's
get a
at.
drum key out here and let's tune that snare down.
Yeah.
So you're tuning it down.
Yes.
Now, when you tune it down, because I don't know it, I'm a guitar player. Do you go across or you just go around?
When I'm tuning it up, I will go across.
Okay.
But detuning it, it's like I'm
Detune
trying
it doesn't matter.
All right, so we,
Okay, so you're detuning the top head.
yes.
Do you ever mess with the bottom head?
I do. And it seems to be in a good place.
Oh my God, that's there we go. Okay, here we go. Here we go.
It changes the length of the note.
Yeah.
It's a longer.
Because that's the
Right.
big thing about the groove, too, is its amount of space.
Totally.
That's it.
And that's why the leanness can be achieved.
Yes.
The drum takes up so much space.
So much space.
Yep.
When you have a beat that is this slow too, your drums can be super saturated and the transient can last much
Right.
longer than when you have a drum and bass kind of thing or a James Brown beat where it's super fast.
Right.
You want that really tight transient snare drum. This you can get that kind
Yeah.
of snare drum sound that lasts a long time because the
Wow.
beat's so big.
It's not how long that rings
It's great.
without the snare.
So great. And it makes such a difference. It's the better snare tone for the song for sure.
I mean, it paints the picture of like,
Yep.
so it's inviting in
Yeah.
a way because it's like this, that's nothing else would work. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah, it sticks out. Anything that's not the right snare on a song like that is defined by the snare, you want to stop it as quickly as you can, unless you got the right snare sound. Then you can play it for 8 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, I heard a producer once say in the studio, they spend 90% of their time on the lead vocal and the snare drum, which was such like it changed the way I thought of music. And it's the reason they said is because when you listen to a song, a lot of what you hear is the lead vocal and the snare drum, actually.
Those are the two mono things that are going to be coming
Center
at
of
you.
the center of the mix.
Yep.
And define the kind of timbral quality of the song, you know?
Totally.
So yeah, it's an important, iconic part of this track. For
Can we
sure.
talk about your right hand? Because
Yeah.
I feel like there's so much nuance if you just listen to the variation in your right hand. There's so much nuance, like bar to bar, what's happening, and beat to beat, what's happening. Can you maybe play it one more time, and we'll just pay attention to your right hand?
You're talking
and
about
how
the
that
hi-hat.
changes? The hi-hat.
Yeah. Wow. I'm so glad you suggested that.
There's a lot going on there in terms of where the emphasis is and the space in between
Yes.
each. Can you talk about, like, how do you think about that? I mean, you probably don't, but
I don't
if
as
you
much
had
anymore.
to, yeah.
It's become one of those things of like, I mean, nuance is so important, and it became more and more important over the years of really investigating music, figuring out what's like all those details matter, you know, and you can't unhear it. Like when you hear that lack of attention to detail, because it seems like, you know, especially this can be a really bad instrument played incorrectly, and if you just kind of, you know, barreling through on it, it just doesn't feel the same. So it'd be different. I don't even want to make that,
Yeah.
but it's like, but I'm thinking about the emphasis is more on the quarter note than the eighth note.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Totally.
so, again, technique is, you know, however you get there.
Yeah.
The important part is to arrive. You know, that's not it.
That's even emphasis.
Yes.
That's just like
And even
grid,
time.
even
Yeah.
time, and even
Right.
emphasis.
And what's so funny is if you were to notate that, you'd be like, oh, it's eighth notes on the hi-hat.
Yeah.
But that describes 10% of what you're playing.
If,
Right.
if that much, you know,
Yeah.
it's
Right.
like,
The groove on paper, if you were to program this groove on a
This-
Lindrum, would sound completely
Yes.
different than the way that you play it.
Well, because the time is also, and it's not this emphasized, but what it sounds like to me is it's gukka, 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 gukka. It's like not quite even eighth notes. The space between the first two is shorter than the space between the second two. Gukka, gukka, gukka. And it's, again, I'm
You're exaggerating.
overemphasizing,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
exaggerating, but it's not just tick, 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 tick.
yeah, that's not, I mean, that has its place.
Yeah.
But that's not what's making this happen.
Yeah.
And with that groove.
And when you are playing that, are you just feeling that? Are you drawing from historical examples? Are you thinking about the time between notes? Is it just muscle memory at this point? How much of it is in your like conscious mind as you're playing?
I'm a collective of all of those, but I would think if anything I'm thinking about it definitely is the space in relation to the rhythm section and how that's, because if, you know, it becomes apparent really quick if it's not established or sitting correctly, then there's, okay, and you usually have time. I mean, it'll usually reveal itself pretty quick, and then you can make an adjustment to that, whether that's you adjusting to whatever's happening to make it just sit correctly. But I definitely try not to think about a whole lot. And over the years, it's like, you know, I would investigate these things, and I still feel like I'm learning a lot about music. You know, I would pay attention to this instrument specifically. I got into that a lot last year, like how important it is. Like this is a really powerful instrument.
I think even the way you say that, like this instrument,
Yeah.
like I think we
It's
forget.
a whole instrument.
It's a whole instrument.
Yeah.
You could do a lot with that thing.
You can do so much with the hi-hat.
Sean, can you talk about where you're putting the center of the beat in relation to like where JJ is playing the kick? Do you aim to start your notes at exactly where JJ starts his notes?
If I were analyzing, maybe, but this is like, I don't think about it, I feel about it.
Yeah.
So you gotta listen to it and go, what feels good about that song? The tones and nobody's slowing down and nobody's speeding up. So they're seated. So my goal would be, what's JJ providing? And then those are big flagpoles, like 1, 2, 3, 4. I could navigate those very groovily if I pay attention to the hi-hat. So that's what I tend to listen to and go, all right, my next downbeat is going to be on point because the hi-hat has revealed Yep, that's exactly where I'm
So
expecting.
you're
it to
listening
go.
more to the subdivisions than to the big beats.
Yeah, that's the only way I can groove without thinking about it.
Interesting.
Go,
Interesting.
oh yeah, I've stopped paying attention to kick patterns and, snares are a lot 2 and 4. Like I haven't recorded a song in years where I go, oh, what's the kick pattern? Because
Yeah.
it doesn't define what I'm gonna do, but this does. And
That's such a
until-
cool insight. I've never
Yeah.
thought about that
Yeah,
before.
me neither.
but if he was playing quarter notes, I would have to focus more because it wouldn't be as obvious. I would have to go, I really want to not let anybody down.
You mean
by-
instead of eighth notes? If he
right.
was
So
going,
if the groove was do, it would be harder for me to go, oh, I got this
because
one.
you would probably subdivide more. You'd play
I
the
would,
role
right,
of the
I'd have
hi-hat.
to figure out how do I navigate so that it feels effortless. What we're aiming for is effortless.
Yeah.
But so is it, sometimes it's just what is your body doing to help you between the spaces?
Is
We
there a
gotta hear-
reference for this groove? Like, has this groove existed before this song?
I think of it like the early thing would be like Green Onions, maybe. or
Definitely
be
like in
Al
the
Green.
stacks.
Yeah, yeah.
There's got to be so
Right.
many Al Green tunes at this tempo with that beat, or
And
that
even
vibe.
sonically, I'm sure it's referenced as well. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, exactly.
no secret.
Yeah, Al Green's probably the perfect reference. There's probably several.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, all right, but it's mostly a quarter note with some eighth notes in there.
Can we hear this beat but with quarters on the hat and see how that changes it? And I also want to see how it
I
changes
know
what you play.
exactly.
I know it fucks up the beat and makes it a completely different thing, but I kind of want to hear what it would sound like without the eighth.
Can we do
vibe.
the eighths first and then switch it to
Yeah,
quarters?
yeah.
as we roll?
Yeah, let's do it.
It's like training wheels.
Okay, let's go eighths and then quarters.
2, 3.
It's a different song.
Totally.
Yeah, it's a difference. I mean, obviously.
There's a different motivation. Well, there's no motivation.
Right.
Yeah,
The,
yeah.
It would be we would be yielding to somebody else
Yeah.
who's playing sixteenths or something.
on
Yeah.
guitar or something
Yeah.
like that.
There's a one or two moments in that song where Pino drops one, doesn't play one.
Right.
Do you know where those are? Does that happen? Do you do that?
I've probably done it at one point because you asked earlier, like, did we learn it note for note? I did at one point because I wanted to. I was coming into the touring band that had toured on that record for 2 years, so I didn't want to be unknowledgeable about everything. But live, I never did it. But if I were to play along or when I was, learning the song, I definitely made note of like, oh, that's cool what that does. And I'd maybe sniff out like, was there an opportunity to do it live?
Yeah.
But it didn't feel, it's not the same tune live. So it wouldn't really come up much.
As a
recorded it.
bass player, what sets Pino apart on this recording from the way any other Joe Schmo bass player would approach it? How quickly can you tell it's Pino?
I don't think I have a good read on that because I lived it in real time. I know, John's in the studio with Steve Pino, or I'm listening to the trio record. So I don't know what came first. I'm guessing the bass line came first because that guitar line, if you just walk in, guys, I got a cool new song idea, and you just play the guitar line,
Yeah.
I feel like the groove came first, and then, I don't know. I'd have to see what, I just like the fifths thing.
Yeah.
That's like not too smart of a bass player approach. It's like not overthinking.
Right.
It's right in the middle.
Yeah.
This is too boring. This is too juvenile.
Yeah.
And then this is duck done. Like, that's really slick.
Yeah.
But how slick is it? We don't know. It just feels
I
good.
feel like that's this whole recording. It's 3 chords. It's a eighth note hi-hat drum thing. It's a not too smart bass line. And yet when you hear it, it sounds like fucking mastery because it's just executed so well and the musicianship is so solid.
Yeah.
I feel like there's not
There's a level of sophistication about it.
Yes.
Yes.
Key.
It's putting a microscope, like every element of this dish is finesse. You know
Yes.
what I mean? And in the recording
And restraint.
Yes.
restraint.
I think that's the restraint with a capital R. There's
Yeah.
such little stuff happening. Everything is executed meticulously and with feeling and with groove and precision. And that's what makes it so special. Not 1,000 different sounds and 1,000 different variations and all, fluff.
Just to nerd out on details of this recording and how it's different from the live trio version, maybe it might be fun to just do a rundown of because there's not that many elements. There's bass, drums, guitar. In the choruses, there's like a pad, right, that you can't really hear, but you can feel. You'd feel if it was
lift.
muted. There's a guitar on the left side that's just doing that one note, kind of, just kind of helping out.
It's doing eighths, right? Or is it doing sixteenths in the
There's
chorus?
some 16th note
I think it's
stuff
16th.
as
Can we
it goes
listen?
on.
Yeah.
You almost can't even hear the tone there. It's just texture. It's just
Percussive.
rhythm.
Yeah.
It's percussion.
But the groove isn't changing very
No.
much from the maybe the hi-hats are lasting a little longer. in the-
Yeah,
in
well,
the
they open
chorus.
up just a little bit. in
Just
the
a hair.
chorus.
But the dynamic
yeah.
basically stays
It's a train.
the same.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's like a delay on the guitar sometimes, like for the solo sometimes that you can kind of hear.
Pokes out.
Whirly, the Larry move
Yep.
from whirly solo to
organ.
Back to
back
whirly.
to whirly.
Yeah.
Yep. In like 8 bars.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a very
Which is
short
beautiful.
window.
Yeah, I love that.
Trading solos.
Yes.
There's like another very reverbed out guitar that
Yeah.
pokes out like 2 or 3 times in the song.
Yeah, you're right. There's a
Just kind of using as like a crash. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
yeah.
And then it
Yeah.
leads
With
to a
ton of
bass lick.
Oh, let's listen to that bass line. Fuck, it's so good. Yeah, I feel like you're right to point out that we're talking about how simple it is, and yet it's just like a hook factory. Like after that second chorus, there's so many new hooks that come in that you can imagine everybody sings along to those parts, the
Yeah.
oohs, and then the what you gonna do about it, just at the very end. Like there's so many great little moments that are singable and nice to listen to after that second chorus. Let's listen to Gravity. This is John Mayer, Gravity, our next tune. Here we go.
We're not gonna get that snare drum sound.
Snare drum. It's the opposite.
Totally different.
Yeah.
And rim shots too, right? No, just right in the middle.
It's a little bit more. It's a special drum.
Yeah, like a piccolo snare.
Not quite. It's yeah.
Thin.
No, it's small.
Okay.
Deep.
Right.
Oh.
Small and
It's diameter small, but it's a deep drum.
deep. Yeah.
Oh, I'll never know
But
what
again,
makes this man
how he's hitting it.
Yeah.
with all the
It's a
love
sweet spot.
Yeah.
that his heart can stand. Dream of ways to throw it all away.
Yeah. Great performance.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Just simple again. Organ, drums, bass, guitar, vocals.
Yeah. Should we talk about the snare?
What a different snare drum.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
one goes up.
This
Yeah.
one goes up.
well,
Yeah.
it gives a suggestion of a side stick with a lot more meat. You know.
Yes.
It's got crack
I think
and
with just
body.
but it's definitely another case of how the instrument is played to achieve that sound. Obviously, it's really dry, but it's a sweet spot where it's being struck to give this illusion that it's because most people say, "Oh, it's side stick." It's not a side stick, but
That's what it sounded like to me. I heard I was like, oh, it's a side stick or it's a piccolo snare, something like that.
The ba-boom. What's happening there?
space. And I think it's just, that's the swing element of it.
Yeah.
The straight man is the hi-hat.
Yep.
Can we hear just JJ and then Sean joining in?
Yeah, can we play the groove first once and then hear? So
Yeah.
That's how it starts. Just and then everybody drops it.
I'm gonna take a nap. So what makes that, it's so engaging.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? It's so simple and so engaging at the
But-
same time. Like I could listen to you guys do that for half an hour.
you guys have amazing chemistry, by the way, playing that groove together. That
He's got a
like it feels like you guys have been playing together for 10 years. That's what it feels like.
Well,
Which
fortunately, it felt that way on the first gig. We probably played with David Ryan Harris at the Temple Bar or something before his place in LA that's no longer here. That's
RIP.
why I was like, oh, because John saw us, he must have sat in with it on a David Ryan Harris gig, and JJ was playing, and that's when he was like, oh, if I need to ever get a new bass player, I already know who would work well with JJ.
Yeah.
So wait, you guys had that chemistry the first time you sat down and played together?
I
pretty
think we
pretty
did.
much, yeah. It was that feeling when you play with somebody and you are
It feels
connected.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Particularly in this configure,
It's kind of like when you meet someone that you connect with. It's like it doesn't take 10 years
Right,
to
to
feel
figure
that
out
way.
this
Like
is
when you
fun.
meet someone that you
Yeah.
connect with, it's pretty, you kind of just know.
Yeah.
You know what I noticed too is when you guys play, and I love this about playing with Pockets and Pomplamoose. It's one of my favorite parts. It was what made the pandemic so hard. When you guys play that, you're looking at each other. Like it's like
Yeah.
it's
Connection for me is what if I had to be in another room, my heart would break. Like
Yeah.
I just want to be near, and at times that I have to be on the ride side for whatever logistical reasons, that's also a heartbreaker because the drummer is usually looking over the hi-hat side. So I'm like, I want to be near my
Yeah.
man.
So I feel like with this groove, there's not a ton of variation in what the drums are doing throughout the
No.
song.
Right. That's where the other elements are. And this is the rare time where the bass can go, you got this.
Yeah.
Like drum machine trust. So if I do want to, and there's some of it on the recording, if you want to just put those downbeats wherever you may like, where
Yeah.
you can, because it's not going to disrupt him.
Right.
The trouble is, if everybody's like, oh, laying back is cool,
Yeah.
and then we're like, oh, we just lost 5 BPM.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
another thing.
Yeah.
That's I think it kind of eludes people at times, the misconception of like how that works. There was one record in particular that really messed a lot of people up.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the, understanding those roles, like what keeps that motivation happening, but still feeling so relaxed and still moving. And then that's it.
Right.
And so what is it? Because you're talking about, you have more flexibility to, like it evokes a different feeling when you place the downbeat slightly ahead or slightly behind of the kick drum. And because he's kind of being metronomic drum machine guy, you have the freedom to do that. How do you do that and not slow down? Like what's
Because he's not going to slow down. So this is where the sophistication and the restraint comes in. It's like, I talked about this years before I even moved to LA. I'm playing with my drummer buddy and the guitar player soloing, and he was a little older than me. This is your friend Craig McIntyre.
Okay.
My friend too.
Love Craig.
And he would remind me, he's like, yeah, when he plays 16th notes, we don't have to.
Yeah.
And he was emulating the Charlie Drayton, Steve Jordan with Keith Richards stuff. And he hit me to a lot of that stuff. He's like, don't take the bait. Like, let
Yeah.
him just provide
I
liftoff for
love
him.
that. That's
Yeah.
so true. Too often in sessions, everybody joins the pulse. And it's
Right.
like, no, that's the pulse.
Right.
And
you
get
lose
to
what
have
you're
fun.
playing against.
Yes,
Yes,
that's
right.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to, as a guy, go, okay, this is the song. It's been recorded. We don't have to discuss it. It's like, you're not gonna slow down if I mess around with the beat, right? It's gonna be totally cool because like, oh, that's the song. The hi-hat, it's like the roles are already defined. The hi-hat is a little crisp. There's not a lot of syncopating, or there's not a lot of dynamic change. It's like, okay, somebody's got to play the straight man.
Yeah.
And in this song, to me, I'm
It's the
hearing
hi-hat.
it in the hi-hat.
Absolutely.
So then, and it's 2 chords. It's like, okay, so it's the little, I want to put my downbeats basically in the same spot, but it's how I get there. As long as I agree, like I'm gonna do that.
Oh, can we hear that? Can we hear that together?
But it's
hear-
also the sustain too, like
Right.
the big holes in the.
And then, yes. Okay, that is such a huge part of the groove, is cutting off with
Yep.
the snare drum. That makes it that.
And it's not every one, which
Yes.
is also, you have to be judicious with, like you hear, he doesn't cut them off right away, and there's a decay, so you use your hand, and then some.
There's all these shades of gray and just how you release a note.
And sometimes you don't even play with the snare drum, you're just releasing the note on
Right,
the snare drum.
which is a different thing than an attack and a break.
And it feels, when you release the note there, I feel like paying attention to your releases can make something groove harder than paying
Oh,
attention
yeah.
to your attacks.
I've done a lot of study on that, where it's how long is that note? And this, sometimes if someone writes a half note on a chart, you're like, well, should I come off? Is it a dotted quarter because some event is happening there, or am I really wanting to release on beat 2?
Exactly.
Do you want it? Tempo comes into factor, but it is being judicious with the groove. Stop at certain points. I mean, when Pino dropped out at the end of the song, it gets a whole new gear that you weren't expecting.
Yep.
So this is the classic thing of silence and muting can be far more influential on the groove than even just playing through it or adding.
Would you
another
drop out live?
there was a whole, and the reason this song kind of interested me, and people should check it out, there's so many live versions,
Yeah.
but by the time they're doing it at Nokia, it's got a whole ending, and there's all this, there's more voices happening, the horns were playing, the ending becomes this grand thing, so it becomes the opposite. So I would never drop out because
Gotcha.
John takes
It
it
becomes
into
massive. Yeah,
solo
yeah,
land
yeah.
at the end. It became a vehicle for
Solo
like,
bill.
I mean, which feels like the song is suggesting that when you play
Right.
this live, it's going to be gospel
Yep,
choir like
exactly.
rises out on stage, and it's just like this huge epic. Yeah, it's beautiful.
and it would get very grand.
Restraint goes out the window by the end of
Yeah,
the live
exactly.
show. Okay, we like to put a little Easter egg at the end of these episodes.
Oh, really?
Can I ask you guys what you've been listening to recently?
Yeah, actually, I don't know. I'm kind of, I feel like I'm a little late coming around to him, but I really, Unknown Mortal Orchestra.
Oh,
Bathroom, floor of the key, 70s all the way.
what you got, Sean?
Well, I'm a creature of habit, so I look what my friends have been playing on, and Lizzie McAlpine is what I've been
You've
checking
been checking out Lizzie McAlpine?
Because
How
I've been
good is that?
waiting for. I met some of the guys involved, of course, or the guy involved, and I was eagerly awaiting the record, and then I saw it came out, and like her songwriting, her point of view, her lyrical content, it reminds me of all the singer-songwriters that I liked in the '90s, like Jonathan Brooke, Sean Colvin. It's just so engaging.
I read an article on the internet, told me that that's how you know you're falling in love. Don't really trust what's on the internet, but maybe just this one.
What you got, Jack?
Isao Tomita.
Oh, yeah.
I
And
don't know this.
so Isao Tomita, I guess the record's like in mid 1986.
Okay.
And it's what makes it special is it's all synthesizers, so completely synthesis based and drum machines, but renditions of classical music. So
Oh, wow.
he does a version of Clair de Lune. Usually when people do synthesized classical music, it sounds like Sibelius playing
Right, sure,
a chart
sure.
with the MIDI instruments. This is purposefully ditching all of that, not trying to sound like strings, not trying to sound, just inventing sounds and synths that beautifully capture the intention of these composers.
There's this guy I've been listening to called Heather. The band is Heather, but I think it's this guitar player that I don't know how to pronounce his last name, so I won't say it. But my friend Rayleigh recommended it, and it's cool. It's like I think he's like jazz guitar player, sideman turned artist, and really cool sounds. It's always great when you hear a well-constructed pop song with tasteful guitar playing, and then you hear later that they're a jazz guy. It's like, good for you.
Who was that when you loved me? Who was that?
Actually, I know we're running out of time, but
Yeah.
I had a question that I just want the answer to.
What do
to
you
ask
got?
JJ. So just because we haven't talked about, you play with Gary Clark Jr. as well.
Yeah.
I'm curious, those are two interesting experiences to just compare.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, like, what is the difference? What do you notice? How's it different? How's it the same to play with those two guys, Mayer and Gary?
Definitely
Clark Jr.?
very different. Different experiences, I think regionally that has, people are affected by and kind of how they do things and their environment that they're around. And then the feel, like kind of like what they gravitate towards and how they tell their story while they're playing. That's one of the, just listening to their language, like
Yeah.
especially when they're soloing. But my favorite is like the rhythm aspect of it, because everybody can play, but the conversations that they have as they're speaking to like not only everyone around them, but what they're projecting to an audience. I just find pretty fascinating, and not one's better than the other,
Yeah.
but they're just all very different. Like I couldn't comment on. They're just all so different.
Can I ask you guys to sign our
Wall Simon.
Wall Simon? That's what we call it.
Absolutely.
Will you please sign Wall Simon while we
Absolutely.
wrap up here? Anywhere that you feel like signing,
Sweet.
we'll do just fine.
Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Professional Musicians React. If you like what you've seen, feel free to comment and subscribe.
You can let us know what we should react to next in the comments below. We'll see you next week on Professional Musicians React. Bye, everybody.